Hey, I'm Alice.
And I'm Jack.
And in today's video, we're taking you back to the Outer Banks. This is a series of videos from our most recent trip, and today we're looking at Nags Head.
Now, of course, the most popular attraction at Nags Head is the beach, and we did get to see a bit of that, but we're going to look at several other attractions we visited on our recent trip.
So one of the things we saw was the Body Island Lighthouse. This is out at the Cape Hatteras National Seashore. It's really pretty, very picturesque. Here you can see the lighthouse keeper's house. Back before there was electricity, they had lighthouse keepers who would actually live on the property and keep watch over the flame. They had to light it by oil and make sure that it kept burning all night. So there's some historical signage around. There's also a park ranger in case you have any questions. It's very informative, but also just very beautiful. You can see this large lawn here. It's perfect for photography. We actually saw a senior in her cap and gown taking pictures while we were there. And then here you can see this is actually one of the families, the husband and wife, that were light keepers back in the early 1900s.
Now, most summers you can climb up to the top of this lighthouse and see the view out the top. There's a spiral staircase. Due to COVID-19, though, it's closed this summer, so there's no climbing up it, or you can't go in the lightkeeper's house either this season.
And they also have this boardwalk that they built because it's hard to see when you're so close to the lighthouse. You can't actually get a good picture of both the lighthouse keeper's house and the lighthouse together. So they built this boardwalk that heads out to a viewing point out on the water. It's actually really nice that they built this because it's marshland. You wouldn't be able to get out there otherwise. But there's really good views, nice photo taking opportunities once you get out there, both of the water, it's on the sound, and of the lighthouse. And something we learned that was interesting is the lighthouse actually has a distinct pattern, and that's how the sailors knew which one it was.
We also learned that Body Island is actually not an island. It is connected to Nags Head. It's not its own island. But here you can see great pictures out over the water, as well as the other direction. You see here the lighthouse with the keeper's residence as well.
And even though we couldn't go in it, I think it was well worth the trip just because it's so beautiful and so peaceful.
So the next attraction we went to is Jeanettes Pier. It's a fishing pier in Nags Head, and it's a very popular attraction for people into fishing. We are not really fisher folk ourselves. We don't really have the patience for it. We enjoy eating seafood, but we don't usually sit out on a pier for hours trying to catch it ourselves. But if fishing is your thing, this is where you want to go in Nags Head. Here's the signage. Of course, we went to all of these attractions shortly after they reopened following the COVID-19 shutdown. So you'll see a lot of social distancing signage. It's $2 just to walk on the pier. If you want to actually fish off the pier, it's $14. And as you enter, there's this historical board with all the information about the pier. The pier has actually been damaged by hurricanes several times and had to be rebuilt. The most recent time, instead of making it out of wood, they actually create it out of cement and just have wooden planks across the top of the structure, so that now with the cement structure, it should stand up a lot better to hurricanes. Inside this building, there's a lot of aquarium exhibits. The North Carolina State Aquarium is located in Manteo, a nearby island, and they have several exhibits here in this building, and it's free to go in the building. The actual aquarium in Manteo is shut down again due to COVID-19 closures, but this building has just reopened, so this is the only place in the Outer Banks right now, as we record this, that you can see aquarium exhibits. They have shut down a number of the interactive exhibits just because they don't want people touching touchscreens in public right now. But you get to see a lot of fish and see a lot of educational videos that unfortunately you won't get to see in the State Aquarium right now due to COVID. And here's the gift shop in the same building. They have, of course, all the usual touristy merchandise, t-shirts, hats, other merchandise that is themed to Nags Head in general and Jeanettes Pier specifically. So here's some of their social distancing signage. I thought it was kind of funny. You see it says social fish distancing, stay at least one fishing rod away from everyone else. So they have this signage all throughout the pier, as well as these high touch area signs. This one warning that this statue of a pelican is a high-touch area. That didn't stop Alice from touching it as we walked by.
It's so cute.
Here's another social distancing sign. Stay at least a dolphin's length away from everyone. If you know off the top of your head how long a dolphin is. So here we're getting to the fishing area of the pier, and there's, of course, benches. There were signs between benches telling people to stay away from other fishers' benches. Again, reminding people of the dangers of COVID. And here's a lookout point with binoculars. You can look back towards the beach. As you see along the coast there's a lot of nice hotels and beach rental homes to stay in right out on the water. So again, if fishing is your thing, this is where you want to go. Looks like a really good place to fish. It goes way out over the water. Just remember, as the sign says, to school with your own family to maintain social distancing. So now we're traveling up north through more of Nags Head to our next attraction.
Yeah, we visited a state park called Jockey's Ridge State Park. This is 426 acres, and it's mostly sand dunes. It actually has the tallest sand dune that's found on the east coast of the United States. It's typically 80 feet to 100 feet tall, and it actually changes day by day because as the wind blows, it picks the sand up and moves it around. So it's always moving it back and forth, but never takes it away completely. So one day you could go and it may be a little bit higher than before. But before you get to the sand dunes, they have a boardwalk that you can walk out for access. And you see signs that tell you what kind of animals you'll see, what kind of trees or vegetation. It's a really nice walk. There are some areas that are shaded, and it ends at a viewpoint overlooking this sandy area, and it has some steps where you can climb down. So this is where you would access the sand dunes if you're wanting to climb on them. You can see one here that has people climbing up. This one actually has some vegetation growing on it. Most of them do not, especially the taller ones. And there aren't really any trails because since the landscape is constantly changing, they haven't made trails. You just kind of wander around, go wherever you want. But some of these sand dunes are really tall, so Jack and I both tried to climb to the top of one, and one of us was successful.
Yes, one of us was. That would be me. It has great views at the top of the sand dunes. Unfortunately, I got all the way to the top of this sand dune we're looking at right now. That's me taking some footage from the top. You'll see there is a valley and then another sand dune. I would have had to climb up to get a better view of the water, which I did not do. But there's the best view I can get right there from where I was sitting. Really nice park area. They do have an option for people with mobility issues to be able to get up the sand dunes, though.
Yeah, that's something we did not learn about until after our visit, but if you make a reservation in advance, they'll actually take you up there in an ATV. They also have a hang gliding school here, or if you're already certified for hang gliding, you can actually bring your own and do that here. They had a lot of people were flying kites or using remote controlled airplanes up at the top of the highest part, which is a fun activity. They have a picnic shelter also. So down here before you get to the dunes, it's under these shady trees. So if you want to go there, make a whole day of it, bring a picnic, you can.
Then we ended our day at our next attraction, which was Brew Through, the drive-through convenience store. There's 5 locations on the Outer Banks. This is really popular. If you grew up anywhere near the Outer Banks, you've likely seen Brew Through t-shirts all over the place over the years. It's very popular. Basically, you get a menu as you wait in line, and then you pull in and let them know what you want. They've got beer, wine, other alcoholic beverages, as well as non-alcoholic beverages. They have a small selection of treats, some cigarettes, but also, as I mentioned, a huge selection of t-shirts, hats, other memorabilia to prove that you personally have been to Brew Through. It's a pretty neat idea. It saves you a couple minutes not having to get out of the car at a convenience store, as long as there isn't a very long line.
And then, of course, there's the beach itself, which you can see here is very popular. So there's always that option without spending any money on tourist attractions. But that wraps it up for this week's video. I hope that you enjoyed this look at Nags Head. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already so you never miss one of our videos. We do have some more coming out about the Outer Banks. And if you liked this, I hope you will give us a thumbs up. And we'll see you the next time we're traveling through.